So Arnie.
So go ahead, Arnie.
Hey, Vaughn, good to see you again.
Nice to see you guys too.
Hey, so we've seen the videos and the photos of your buffed body and all the working out you've done in the offseason. Bradley Chubb said he expects a monster season. Big Fangio is saying similar things. Can you just walk us through your offseason, how you started off with the virus, you overcame that, and then had this monster offseason to get ready for the year?
Yeah, I think all the stuff that we went through last year as a team, I kind of was wanting to invest in myself, and I was kind of wanting to work. And this offseason started off just like every other offseason. I didn't really, I went to the Super Bowl, and I started off working in San Francisco January 4th. And then we went to the Super Bowl, and I still had plans to go do Kentucky Derby and all this other stuff. And then the virus hit, and I'll go back even before then. First Kobe died, and it kind of struck me, and it hit right before we went out for the Pro Bowl. We was in the locker room, we was talking about it, and that kind of started for me. And I started in San Francisco. We went to the Super Bowl right after that, and I came back from San Francisco. I came back from the Super Bowl in Miami, and I started working out the week after that. And then the virus hit, and then the virus canceled everything. It canceled the Kentucky Derby, it canceled the festivals that I would usually go to every year, like the Coachellas and the Rolling Louds, and it canceled all these endorsements and all the stuff that I would usually do in the off season. So I really just thought about what could I really do with all of this time. And I was just man, I'm gonna train. I'm gonna train every day, and I'm gonna train as much as I possibly can. And that's what I did. And I just kind of got lost in that. And then The Last Dance came out, and I watched what Michael Jordan was doing back in his prime. And I asked myself hey, this was Michael Jordan was the best that ever played. Was I really making that commitment to the game? Was I really doing the same stuff that he did? Kobe was one of the best that ever played. Was I doing the things that Kobe was doing? Was I demanding more out of my teammates? And was I demanding more out of myself? And I looked in the mirror and I said, I wasn't. And I just tried to change that and tried to work as hard as I possibly could and take any days off and then go on any vacations. I didn't do anything but work out and grind and reinvest all the time that I would usually spend on endorsements and all this other stuff. I just reinvested that time back in myself.
Next up, Mike Kliss, followed by D-Mac. Mike, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Vaughn, nice moss, by the way. The hair.
Moss. I don't have much up here. I don't have much up here, so I just, decided to play around with it.
Hey, just about if you could kind of educate us a little bit about the COVID. Did you have any residual effects? It didn't look like it from your Instagram video workouts that you gave us, but was there fatigue? People are wondering, will there be any residual to this season?
You know what? I did. And I had, it was hard for me to get my wind back probably 2 or 3 weeks after the virus. During the virus, I lost a lot of weight. Everybody's symptoms not the same, but for me, I lost my taste and smell. I lost my taste and smell. I couldn't really eat, because when you can't taste or, smell food, you kind of lose your appetite. And I lost about, 15 pounds. And, right after I got my second negative back, I started back training and I started back running, and it was tough. No doubt about it. It was tough. It was tough to just warm up, and I just pushed through it. In about 2 or 3 weeks, I started to feel back normal, and I started to hit a little bit harder. So I would say about 2 weeks after the virus, you still kind of have a little wind issues. But that was for me. I have asthma, and, I feel like that was just a part of that.
Next up, D-Mac, followed by Ryan O'Halloran. Dan, go ahead, please.
So that's really interesting, Vaughn. Did you consider opting out, and why or why not? And also, back to the Jordan stuff, which again is really interesting. In that docuseries, Jordan constantly had a chip on his shoulder for a wide variety of reasons. So I'm curious, first of all, about opting out, whether you consider it or not, and what chips are you putting on your shoulder, or what is specifically motivating so much this particular year?
I think Mark Kisley creates all the chips for me. I think he kind of. No, I'm just joking, kind of. No, but you know, I thought about it. You know, whenever they gave us the option, I thought about all of my options. I thought about my family, and I thought about, you know, I took you know, serious consideration in the things that, you know, could possibly happen. You know, but for me, I think the Broncos are doing a great job, you know, keeping us safe. And there's always holes. There's always going to be holes. We're not in like a total like bubble. It's not 100% like basketball. So there are always going to be holes. But I feel like the job that the Broncos were doing to keep us safe were enough for me, you know, not to opt out. And you know, I just think, you know, last year I didn't play to, you know, Sauce Money Done standards. I didn't play to the Sack Master standards. I feel like it was more for me to give. My coaches felt like it was more for me to give. And, you know, most of all, I feel like I could give more. I feel like I can be more. And, you know, I don't feel like I'm finished yet. And I want to come back here and I want to play the best that I possibly could. I wanted to put everything into the offseason. I want to pour everything into myself and go out there and play the best that I possibly could and, you know, see what happens.
Next, we got Ryan O'Halloran, followed by Jeff Legwold. Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, Vaughn. Bradley Chubb said last week this defense can create some chaos. With him coming back, what are your expectations that he can regain the form of his rookie year and maybe even be better?
You know, I feel like whenever you have a season-ending injury, it really refocuses you. You know, it makes you refocus. And, you know, all the greats have had some type of season-ending injury, from Peyton Manning to Tom Brady to DeMarcus Ware, you know, to, you know, all the greats. And they always come back stronger. And, you know, Bradley Chubb, he was already a monster. And, you know, I feel like he's stronger. He's refocused. You know, not that he needed to refocus, but he's definitely refocused. He's ready to go. You know, he's been here this whole offseason just chomping at the bit and ready to go. And I can definitely, you know, I definitely understand how he feels. You know, I tore my ACL as well. And, you know, I know how the offseason is to grind and, you know, rehab. And all you can think about is football. All you can think about is getting back on the field. And, you know, I know Bradley's thinking about the same stuff. And, you know, whenever he gets out there, he's gonna be a monster. He's ready to explode, and it's a good thing.
Next up, Jeff Legwold, followed by Mark Kislow. Jeff, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Vaughn, I just wanted to go back to how seriously did you consider opting out, and did anyone in your family, because of your asthma, say maybe you should opt out? And the other thing I was wondering is that have a lot of your teammates really quizzed you about COVID since you've gone through it?
You know, nobody in my family, they kind of, you know, were going off what I was thinking. But, you know, I just thought about it. You know, I just really thought about, you know, all the things that could possibly happen. You know, I thought about, you know, this season is different from any other season. I thought about, you know, I weighed the positives and the negatives. And, you know, I just came to my own decision that, you know, I felt like that I could play. You know, I thought about, you know, me having asthma. You know, I went over, you know, everything that I could possibly go with my agent, and we just thought about it. And I feel like every player should do that. I feel like every player should just, you know, think about everything that they could do. And I think that's what Juwan did. I think, you know, for him, you know, I don't have any children. I don't have a wife. I don't have, you know, anything. And Juwan, you know, I don't want to speak on his wife or anything, but his situation was totally different from my situation and everybody else's situation. So, you know, I support him in his decision to opt out and, you know, put his family first. Is you know, what he had to do, and I'm all for it. And for my teammates, you know, I get all type of questions about the virus, and, you know, but for me, I feel like it's me pushing it out there, like, hey, this thing is serious. You know, it's very, very serious, and we got to stay on top of all of that stuff. From guys wearing masks, from guys, you know, washing their hands, from guys taking, you know, fish oil and all type of supplements to keep their immune system up. And, you know, it's really me just pushing it out there, like, hey, guys, you know, take this thing serious, because we see what's, you know, we see the type of things that have happened in baseball, and we just don't want that to happen. We just don't want that to happen in the NFL. And we got to take this serious. We got to take it one day at a time, and that's all we can possibly do. You know, Broncos have put us in a great situation they put us in a great situation. They've done everything they can possibly do to keep us safe. And, you know, for me, the option to play was better for me.
Next up, Mark Kislow, followed by Justin Adams. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Vaughn. I'm your chip if you need one. So I'm here for you, man. But more seriously, I want you to go back to elaborate on something you said at the top. Why did Kobe's death hit you so hard, and in what way did that change your perspective? Maybe that's too broad.
I think in humanity, whenever like an artist like a rapper or like a celebrity or somebody that you really think would never like die, when they die, you kind of like are taken back, and you kind of reflect on their whole life, and you reflect on all the great things that they did, and you reflect on all of the person that they were. And it's it's unfortunate that we're like that as human beings, because we should give guys their flowers while they're here. And I think people gave Kobe his flowers while he was here, but whenever he died, then you focus on the type of person and the type of athlete that he was. You have no choice but to be motivated. I know that was for me. And I just kind of looked at all the legends that I'm around. I tell guys that I love them more. I don't have a problem with saying, hey, I love you. I appreciate you, because you never really know. And through these times that's going on right now, it's, I feel like it's mandatory for me to tell guys I love them, especially my teammates and my coaches and the guys that I spend all this time around. Kobe was a legend, and I feel like we got a legend here with John Elway. And I feel like in years before, I kind of shied away, because it's like, Elway the legend, and you kind of like, he walk in the room and you kind of like, oh, let me get out of here. But after this, I kind of refocused and like, hey, I need to spend more time with Elway, and I need to spend more time around the legends and see what make these guys who they were, and see what type of stuff that they did to try to rub off on me, so I can be better with my teammates, so I can be better with my family, so I can be better with the people that I interact with on a daily basis. And when Kobe died, it was so unexpected. We knew about him flying helicopters. He was really the first athlete that I ever heard of flying helicopters to practice and every day and all this stuff. And I never really even had the thought that would happen. And when it happened, especially right before the Pro Bowl, it was like, what? It was, and then it was all these reports going on like this and that, and this happened, or this wasn't true, and this was true, and people know this and people know that, and it was so much information that was spilled out there, and that was right before the Pro Bowl for us. So we were playing, and at the same time we were thinking about like, is this real with Kobe, and did this happen and that? And then after the Pro Bowl, I did all the research, I looked at all the articles, and I found out what was true and what wasn't true. And I started to dig deeper on the type of, person that he was. I read his Moment Mentality book, and, the foreword by Paul Gasol, and, on the things that Phil Jackson said about him. I want my teammates to say that type of stuff about me, and I want my coaches to say the type of stuff about me. And I want to demand more about my team. I want to demand more from my teammates. And in the last dance, Michael Jordan said that he would never demand anything out of his teammates that he wasn't doing himself. So for me, it was like, bro, I got to work harder. I got to push harder. I got to get back in shape. I got to lead more. I got to lead better. And before, I always felt like that I was a great leader, before, but I kind of shied away from the pressure of like being the number one leader or leading in the right direction. And I feel like, especially this offseason, pressure is privilege. And to have the pressure of being the leader of the Denver Broncos and lead this team to dominance again, and to lead this team to a Super Bowl, I want that pressure. And years before, I kind of shied away from that pressure. I kind of, I'm a lead in my own way, and I'm a team guy, and I'm a people's guy, and I want to do what my guys want me to do, and I'm gonna be a fun leader. But this offseason, I did a little research and found out that I want the pressure. I want the pressure because pressure is privilege. And here with the Denver Broncos, we always have the pressure of being a great team, and I want that. And I don't want to shy away from that. And everything I could possibly do to be a great leader, that's what I'm gonna do.
Guys, we got time for a couple more. Next up, Justin Adams. Go ahead, Justin.
Thank you, Vaughn. It's interesting that you talk about pressure being privilege, but on the other side as well, when you talk about the books that you read and the impact that Kobe Bryant had on you, now you come into the locker room where everything's 100% different. You have social distancing. You're not able to have the hand-to-hand interaction that you have with your teammates in the past. How are you able to take everything that you've learned from the offseason, the books you read, the people that you talked to, the leaders that you met with, and be able to take it not only to the practice field, but also to the games as well?
It's all new. It's all new. And, what I found out that I can do, we're still trying to figure out the flow of things. We have a team meeting room in 2 different areas. We're still trying to find out the flow of things safely. And, you know, I'm in the flow with the guys. And all I can really do is take it this 1% at a time. And I can't really get lost in, like, the outcome of becoming this and becoming that. And, you know, really all I can focus on is the process. Coming in, making sure my hands are clean, going to work, working as hard as I possibly can, you know, getting off work, washing my hands again, showering as fast as possible, get back in my playbook, leading the guys. And whenever the opportunity presents itself, I have to take advantage of that. And I can't shy away from anything. It's year 10 for me, and, you know, if it's any other time for me to do it, it has to be now, despite all the obstacles that we have around us. I just got to find a way to adapt, overcome, and achieve the goal of bringing the Broncos back to where we need to be and become the leader that I need to be.
Last two, Troy and Nick Kosminer. Troy, go ahead.
Hey, Vaughn, thanks for doing this, man. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, Troy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you as well, man. You talk about, you know, the pressure is a privilege, and Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. And I've seen you unite a locker room, the way you go from the special teams guy to offense. But those guys, frankly, could be assholes to their teammates. I mean, it required a personality that didn't care about criticism. How do you kind of reconcile with that of who you are as a person? And is this part of a legacy conversation for you? Because you're talking about legacy guys. Is that kind of what's motivating you as well?
You know, it's never too late to change. You know, it's never too late to change. And it's I might be 31 years old in the year 10, but it's never too late to change. And, you know, I've identified the leader that I was before wasn't getting it done. And it wasn't leading us in the right direction to where we needed to be fast enough. You know, it might have been effective, but it wasn't doing it fast enough. And I have to change, and I have to be like those guys. I have to demand more out of my teammates. And at the same time, I gotta love on my teammates too. I gotta let them know that I appreciate them. You know, I tell the guys all the time that I appreciate them. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. You know, to be in a locker room with these guys. I'm thankful to have a quarterback like Drew Lock, and I'm grateful to have a guy like Bradley Chubb rushing on the other side of me. But at the same time, I gotta work, and I gotta show these guys. I gotta still lead by example. But at the same time, I gotta cut down on, you know, a little bit of sauce on the done, and I gotta become more of the leader like Kobe and Jordan was. And it's never too late to change, no matter if it's year 10, year 2, no matter what. I got to find a way to do it. I got to meet with the leaders that I'm around. I got to meet with the Elways and, you know, all of the Marcus Wares and, you know, the Peyton Mannings, the guys that have done a great job. And I have to find a way to do it my way and lead these guys to the promised land.
Last one, Nick Kosminer.
Hey, Vaughn, you've been around Jarrell Casey during Pro Bowls, but I'm just curious now that he's a teammate of yours, what has been your impression of him in the building, and just kind of what you think both his personality and his on-field performance are going to bring to the Broncos this season.
It's the exact same way. It's the exact same guy from the Pro Bowl. It's the exact same guy from the Pro Bowl. You know, some of the games that we talked about, some of the lingo that we worked on at the Pro Bowl, we talk about the same stuff here, and he just gets it. It's just instant. And I think when you played as long as Jarrell and you play as long as, you know, myself, it's just instant. We don't have to work on stuff. I can say something and he'll pick it up instantly. He'll say something to me and I'll pick it up instantly. And it's great to have a guy like that. Wolf was great. We had 8 strong years together, and I wouldn't be the type of pass rusher that I am today without Derek Wolf. But I have, you know, Jarrell Casey here with me now, and I have to take advantage of that. I have to take advantage of his knowledge. I have to take advantage of his energy, his pass rushing energy, and he's great. You know, he's great to have out there. You know, today we were just walking through some stuff, and I can already feel it. I can already feel how effective we'll be together, and I'm excited to go out there and practice. I'm excited to get in pass. I'm excited to play, and I'm excited to lead with Jarrell Casey. He's a great guy.
Hey, sorry, real quick, Woody, did you have a final one?
Yeah. Hello, Vaughn.
Woody Page, go ahead on the final question.
I'm Woody, Vaughn. Nice to meet you. You are one of the few, if not the only one, who was here during the other racial tensions that were going on and what happened with Colin Kaepernick. In looking back on that, Brandon Marshall and a couple of the other players were involved in kneeling at the time. Do you think that situation is going to change for the Denver Broncos this year? Is it a totally different situation? Are you, as a leader of this team, going to reach out to all the other players and talk to them and make a joint decision about what you do this year, unlike what happened in the previous time?
You know, with that being said, I felt like I could have stood taller with Kaepernick at the time. You know, I felt like I could have supported Kaepernick, you know, a lot better at the time. And, you know, I apologize for not, you know, being, you know, a stronger leader, you know, for Kaepernick at the time. You know, the things that players are doing now, Kaepernick was doing, you know, 4 years ago. And, you know, I felt like now, you know, in hindsight, I felt like, man, I could have, you know, stood taller with Kaepernick and Brandon Marshall at the time. But with that being said, I feel like it's a lot of ways that we can impact, you know, I feel like it's a lot of ways that we can impact viewers, you know, on this subject, impact society on this subject. And I definitely, you know, reach out to all of my guys around the league. You know, I reach and talk to all of the guys, you know, around the league on what should be done and what's the best way and what's the best message to get out. Justin Simmons is huge and with the social justice movement. You know, I reach out to him and I see exactly what he wants to do. And whatever it is, we'll be united on the message that we have to put out.